Hi, I'm Wendy Kaplan,
And I'm Terry Lupberger.
and we're here today because we are unapologetically obsessed with women's leadership. And we just need a platform to talk about it. And we're here in this very short video to help you level up your leadership.
Yeah. So Wendy, why are you so obsessed with women's leadership?
Well, most of my career, I've been working for 30 years, mostly with men, because I'm at the top of the house, running my own consulting business. It's at the executive level. And for the last 15 years, I've really become so fascinated with women and their leadership because I notice how women just take, including myself, take ourselves out of the game so many times. And I notice men don't do that. And I don't know, I just started to navigate in that direction. I almost couldn't help myself. And just a couple of other things that I'll add. I've learned over all these years that women lead differently than men. Like leadership is leadership, right? But women lead differently than men. And there's a huge momentum now around women's leadership with Time's Up and Me Too and the women's marches. It feels very different to me now than it did, I don't know, years ago with all of the feminism and all of the push during Gloria Steinem days, et cetera, that women really have an opportunity now, and there's a lot of momentum behind us. And so I'm pretty psyched.
Yeah.
I'm pretty psyched.
Yeah.
So how about you? Why are you so obsessed with women and leadership?
Well, so my journey started back in the late 80s. I did my first transformational course, Women, Sex, and Power, and it was 250 women in a gymnasium. We thought we were going to learn how to be more powerful and how to conquer the world and how to get relationships, right? And what I took away from that was my love of the feminine and what we can do with it, and also a little bit of sadness. It's one of the things that bothers me the most with women is that we aren't as supportive of each other as we could be.
I know.
And this is the time, to your point about the masculine game. The masculine game hasn't been around for just decades, not even just for hundreds of years. It's been around for thousands of years. The patriarchal model of win-lose and competition has sort of driven the world, if you will, to where we are now. And the time is now to integrate the feminine, right? To have the feminine rise and be equal partners in the game, so we can design it differently, and equal partners in the power structures. What we're facing, the climate issues and the pollution issues, and the fact that we're so what's the word? We're so polarized, right? And until we can start collaborating, and that means integrating the masculine and feminine, I'm afraid things are going to keep going the way they're going, and we can't afford that. So I'm passionate for those reasons. Yeah.
Yeah. I also have the experience, because I'm in the corporate world a lot, of organizations taking action around hiring, advancing, and promoting, really just raising their consciousness at a base level about why is it that there seems to be hardly any women above the director level or mid-level. Women rise equally for a period of time alongside men, and then all of a sudden the men get promoted into the higher level roles and the women do not.
Yeah.
And
some may say that we're taking It's because we're taking ourselves out of the game,
Yeah, that's not
right?
true.
Well, I think there's something to that, because we still have all the pressures of home and family. You know, all the statistics show that even if we have full-time careers, we still take on more of the lion's share of work at home. But I don't think that's the only reason.
Well, the reason I said that's crap is not that it is true that women often stay home, although nowadays there are equally as many men taking off the same amount of time. So I don't know what the percentages are for that. But just because a woman might take off X number of months or years, even when she steps back in, the ceiling is still
Right.
there,
Yeah.
right?
She's at a
So,
disadvantage, no question.
right.
Yeah.
So what I care about are two things. One, shifting the culture inside an organization so that women have the opportunity to advance, and helping women to develop the skills and the wherewithal to step in, to unleash themselves,
Yeah.
to take their seat as they want to, not because they should, but
Yeah.
because they want to.
Yeah, and that they have the opportunity. And it's not until women are playing the game that we're going to be able to start changing the game, right? Which is
Yeah,
another thing that I care about, which is let's get women at the table so we can start changing some of the rules,
yeah,
right?
yeah. So we're going to talk a little bit about tripwires, we call them, right?
Yes, 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 yes.
Yeah,
Yeah. So what do you see as the, I don't know, the challenges, the tripwires of women in the game of business, if you will?
yeah. I think that women create, not that there's not a glass ceiling, but I think women create their own sticky floor. And we do a lot of things consciously or unconsciously because we've been culturalized in a certain way um, to do that to ourselves. And I think the biggest one is self-confidence. I did a little research before we did this video, and did you know that almost 70% of women feel they needed more support in building their self-confidence?
Yeah.
Now, if you ask a man that question, that's not even on a radar anywhere,
Right.
right? So I think self-confidence is huge. Trying to get rid of the little voice in your head that takes us out before we even step in. Even I, who has all this experience doing this work, find myself doing the same thing from time to time. So I think our own lack of confidence, and either to request a career plan, to request a raise. This research I did said almost 70% of women lack the self-confidence or courage to ask for a raise. I just spent yesterday an entire hour coaching a very senior women to talk to her boss, who's the CEO of the company, about why she should have an SVP title, because she's been doing the job for 3 years and she hasn't asked for it because she doesn't want to rock the boat.
Yeah.
And she's not sure she's really ready. She's been doing the job for 3 years.
Yeah.
That stuff just makes me crazy. Okay, so how about you? What do you think about in terms of tripwires?
Uh, well, I definitely agree. That's a huge one. The other thing, and this is probably just because it matters so much to me, is when women don't support other women. When what we do is we tend to go to criticism, judgment, negative assessments, whatever you want to call it. And I've asked women about that over my career, like, why is that? And what I used to hear was, well, if they get a seat at the table, I won't get my seat because there's not enough seats.
Right.
I think that's changing. And I almost want to say I'm evangelical about women supporting other women, because we all need to support each other to create, to change the game. Yeah.
I just was on a strategy call with 4 other women. We're part of a executive strategy steering committee. And one of the women, who's the CIO for the company, said, I know someone in our organization that we want to retain, that we all know, and she's going to leave if we don't do something to support her. And I think you, to one of the other women on the call, you've got an opening. She wants a career transition. You're in the job role that she wants to learn more about. What do you think about hiring her?
Great example.
And so the other woman said, yeah, let me think about it. And then, so there's support, there's advocating, and then there's extreme support. So then the first woman says, tell me what you think about in terms of that being a good idea or not a good idea, so we can talk about it, so I can help you think it through better together. So she wasn't going to leave her alone to sort it out.
Yeah.
Right? I thought that was brilliant.
That's a great example of just us, supporting each other. Doesn't mean we have to agree, doesn't mean we have to be best friends, but it means how do we help each other, right? Get to the place where we all say we want to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is that it for us for today?
I think that's it for today.
Yeah, I think so too.
Okay.
So we're going to leave you with this thought that women at their best need to be mirrored, supported, challenged, and championed by each other to come into the fullness of their power and to unleash our individual brilliance.
Yeah.
So our question for you today, what are you doing to unleash your potential?